We welcome back via the magic of the internet, the Hold Steady. Craig Finn and Steve Selvich are with us. The new album is Open Door Policy. We'll talk more about the record and releasing a record in a pandemic in just a few minutes. But first, recorded live, the Hold Steady.
You know, they took away my headphones. Sure, they let you keep your handset, but the courtyard is a dead zone. And the nurse that they assigned me had eruption as a ringtone, blasting out through built-in speakers like it's bug spray, buzzing like a hornet halfway blown. I'd advise you not to leave. Fed some nickels from the fountain, make your friends and fall asleep. Let your sins be of omission. Wish you wouldn't engage with all these creeps, 'cause they're never gonna love you that one specific way that you want them all to love you. Scheduling and a willingness to trade your medication, obsessive and controlling and coming up on total suffocation. She came into the cantina singing "This must be his place," faithful as its limits, I just want to see his face. Before she took her shot, said a little grace, said, "Lord, grant me the power to stop these hands from shaking. Been falling in the fountain since a week or so before. Been rattled by the accident, my shoulders were still sore. I almost rolled my eyes when they asked me how to score, but sometimes it feels sweet to be the teacher." Well, they were calling through the carpet, I could not resist her charm. Wandered through the fortress that called me the family farm. Out along the towers there were guards with heavy arms. Guess there was some tension with the neighbors. Drinking on the runway strip, tripping on the runway, laughing at the jets as we watched them fly away. She says you get what you get if you push too far ahead. Will put us in these places for a reason. Masquerading as wisdom. Clicking on the necklace, jangling the keys to the kingdom. Resting in the lobby at the hotel on the highway. Not sure you even want to be rescued. Now you're never gonna love you that one specific way that you want them all to love you. And you want them all to love you. With the wine glass on the microwave and the ashtray in the kitchenette, I could tell that it was difficult to bring that sort of subject up. It was tough to bring the subject up. Sleeper City on the power play, in the garden with a day to spare. And if you know the perfect words to say, You can get it almost anywhere. That's a pretty heavy covenant to make with someone powerless. Said I'll ask about that other stuff if you're still prepared to pay for it. I know the perfect place to go. Slide your little phone into the airplane mode. Motel Mariposa, a little south of downtown on the frontage road. Hearing stories on the scorch mark, hearing bass lines and the buzzing of the lights. I'm sorry that the desk can say we're gonna need another night. We're gonna stay a second night. I sell software made for offices. It increases their efficiency. Hospitals and local governments. That's a pretty heavy cover. On the taxi to the airport, I was hoping for Tucson around town. Staring at the sideline, right back on my phone to find the frowns. There seems a lonely person, it's a couple different bodies in this one life. I'm sorry, but my meeting got delayed. We're gonna need another night. First I watched him play his instruments, resonator with a missing string. Then I asked about the songs he did, besides what songs he's gonna sing. Then I asked if I could shake his hand. Then I palmed him almost $40. Then I asked about that other stuff. Glass on the microwave, the ashtray on the kitchenette. I could tell that it was difficult. Sleeper City on the underplay. You can get it almost anywhere if you know the perfect words to say. That's a pretty heavy covenant to make with someone powerless. He said I'll ask about that other stuff. Met a guy up at the music club, found him almost $40 to make it safe to bring the subject. Cause it's tough to bring the subject up. Cause it's tough to bring the subject up. It's a pretty heavy covenant.
They are the Hold Steady. The album is called Open Door Policy. Craig Finn is here. Steve Selvage is here. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey.
So, Craig, I'm going to start with something a little weird. You and I famously spent 5 days in Palm Springs with a weird cast of characters ranging from Daughtry to Anthony Hamilton to Rhett Miller for an Esquire story. Given where we are as a country, you said something to me 10 years ago about that trip or on that trip that's resonated with me. I said that Pitchfork would be aghast at you and Daughtry, an American Idol winner, in the same place and hanging out as friends. And you said, I have a lot in common with the guy. We tour, we have managers, we make music, we work in recording studios. And you said it's not that different, ultimately, than you're a Twins fan, somebody's a Yankees fan, you both love baseball. I've had trouble applying that to politics, but I think it's a really interesting thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's the basis. Yeah, I made a solo record in 2017 because we all want the same things, and it's the same concept. I mean, we all want shelter. We all want the best thing for our kids. We want safety, etc. Well, food. We are very divided on how we best get those things and best pursue those things. And I think there's also, I mean, there's certainly a lot of misinformation in this day and age that plays into that. But I think as humans, we do have that, those similar desires, and certainly. I mean, I don't think there's any world and then me and Daughtry or me, any other musician, couldn't find some common ground.
Common ground comes into play on open door policy how? Because, I mean, there's songs about power and wealth and politics and capitalism. Um, where's the statement there?
I don't know if there was an overriding statement or thesis statement on open door policy. I sort of used that as I thought if open door policy was a movie poster, the second line under the title would be power, wealth, and mental health. We made the record in 2019 and have kind of waited for it to come out. But in 2019, I felt like that was a very heavy year. Like I was like, oh wow, this is
Yeah.
crazy. 2019 is going to kill us all. And we didn't know what was to come. But so we wrote about it. I was writing about things. I think technology is a big part of it. Misinformation, etc. The way we communicate. I think income inequality. And obviously, mental health is something that in 2020 it's just like becoming even bigger, something that we're all talking about. And so in some ways 2020 came while we were waiting to put this record out and made all these concepts bigger deals. But there's no big statement about how to fix these are just stories where people are affected by these issues, these things.
Steve, this is a big rock and roll band that thrives on live audiences.
Right.
That give and take is you know, the key to this band in a lot of ways. I mean,
It's in a large part where we live.
yeah. How difficult has this year been to not have that?
It's strange because it's been very difficult, but the enormity of it all sort of mutes it in some strange way. I mean, because everybody's going through it. It's hard to really I mean, nobody's going to really, if you're standing on the street corner crying and, pouting about it, nobody's going to really be that upset for you because they're going through the same thing, or maybe even worse, maybe, they're sick or somebody they know has died, so but at the same time, it's, we miss it and it's strange. And, we had our Brooklyn Bowl shows in December and it was all at once, like surreal and beautiful and dystopian all together. It's for me, and I think for all of us, just sort of an unprecedented set of circumstances in which to operate.
Craig, what's it like to perform and not see people, not to have that exchange, that energy exchange, and to see people repeating back to you line for line the way your fans do every obtuse little lyric, let alone choruses?
Steve said, we do a weekend at the Brooklyn Bowl every year, and this was our fifth annual, and we did it virtually, live stream. And so that it was difficult. We were playing to basically an empty room. Our merch guy was there. There wasn't merch to sell, so he was trying to be a one-person audience yelling back at us. But what we did do there, which was very, very, very helpful, was we had monitors that showed people in their living rooms. We could kind of see through the Zoom technology, people in their living rooms drinking beer, dancing, holding up their dogs. The first night I was like about halfway through, I asked people to hold up signs for where they're from. And that really helped to know that people around the world were drinking beer, singing along wherever they were from. I said it reminded us of all that we've lost, the actual physical in-person audience, which is much, much better. But it also reminded us of what we have, what we built, the community that is a part of this band. And that made me feel great. That made me feel as good as I felt during the pandemic.
Did you know how much you'd miss it? I mean, did you have an idea of how much you loved it until you couldn't have it? the
Yeah,
interaction?
I mean, I think so. I think so because, but I mean, there's things I miss about it that I didn't know. For instance, when we got back together and I heard the kick drum, that was that, just
Yeah.
the kick drum in your chest, that felt amazing. I think some of the travel, the mundane parts, I miss more than I thought. I mean, just being kind of at the hotel bar at a Hilton Garden Inn, killing time, having a weird warm beer and on your after you got in late, and that's the kind of thing you didn't think you'd miss. That you thought that was kind of lame at the time, but it's like, I wish I could be doing that right now.
I mean, given our struggles with power and wealth and capitalism, etc., and our divide, and the situation we're in with the pandemic, how do you remain hopeful? How do
I mean, I think you have to connect with the people however you can, your people, right? Whether that's Zoom, which I know, I personally am not as accepting, I'm not being invited to or as accepting many invitations to Zoom happy hours, etc., as I was in May. But just taking a walk and checking in with people, I think is very helpful.
Yeah, I think having people, having people in your household with you. I mean, having family, for me, like having kids, two kind of smaller children, again, I have to focus on them. I can't really get too introspective sometimes just because there's lunch to be made, and stuff like that. So it's just, you sort of, in that respect, you sort of focus on the now and then kind of hope for the best for the future.
Let's do a little more music. This is the Hold Steady for our virtual Dell Music Lounge.
When I think the South Paradise is right, boys and girls in America, they are such a sad time together, sucking off each other at the demonstration, making sure they make it straight, crushing one another with colossal expectation, dependent on discipline and sleeping late. So really cool kisser wasn't all that strict of a person. She was a damn good dancer and she wasn't all that great of a girlfriend. And he likes the warm feeling, but he's tired of all the dehydration. And he likes it crystal clear, tonight it's like he's stuck between stations. On the radio. The Devil and Sean Berryman, they took a little walk together. Ended up in Washington, I'm talking to the river. He said, I surrounded myself with doctors and deep thinkers. Make heads and soft bodies make for lousy lovers. It was that night that we thought that Sean Berryman could fly. But he didn't, so he died. You said you're pretty good with the words. Words won't save your life, and they didn't, so he died. And he was drunk and exhausted, critically acclaimed and respected. And he loved the Golden Gophers, but he hated all the drawn-out winters. And he likes the warm feeling, but he's tired of all the dehydration. Must not to kind of fuzzy. Last night he had total redemption. These Twin City kisses, they sound like clicks and hisses. We all come down and drown in the Mississippi River. Well, we drink and we dry up and now we crumble in the dust. We get wet and we corrode. corroded, now we're covered up in rust. We trigger, we try up, and now we crumble into dust. We get wet and we corroded, now we're covered up in rust. She was a really cool kisser, wasn't all that strict of a person. She was a damn good dancer, she wasn't all that great of a girlfriend. And he likes to walk feeling with his side of all the T-hop tricks. Mustache are crystal clear, tonight it's like he's stuck between stations. You know these sweat city kisses, they sound like clicks and hisses. We all come down and drown.
Craig Finn, Steve Selvich, thank you, gentlemen. And before long, maybe at some point, we do this in person.
I hope so.
Would love to.
All right, great. Thanks again, and we'll be back with more virtual Dell Music Lounges. Until we can do them upstairs, you'll find them archived at acl-radio.com.